Hey guys, welcome back. This is Phil from underKG.com, and today we're going to take a look at iPad Pro 10.5. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have noticed the amazing design of it, so let's get straight into it. Well, the design itself hasn't changed much from the previous iPad series. It's slim, it's boxy, and it's light. It's got a clean design on the back as well, very slate-ish design. The antenna line is a slim line right there instead of the black panel on the iPad 5th generation. And while I'm mostly happy with the aesthetics of the new iPad Pro, one thing that bothers me is that it's slightly bent. It has been like this since I ever got it delivered, and you press it down to the ground and it gets flatter, so it's slightly bent. I don't know why. I've seen a few other people on forums who also has the same problem. I don't know if I'm gonna get refurbished out of it, if that's possible, but anyway, this is apparently an issue. Well, perhaps the most noticeable feature out of it is the display panel. It's got a 10.5 inches of a display, and the bezel surrounding that is extremely narrow considering that it's a tablet. And as always, they've done a great job at palm rejection algorithms. Whichever way you're holding it, it ignores the accidental touches but continues to get the inputs on this side or the touches that you intend to make. And another thing that Pro lineup exclusively has is a feature called a True Tone display. It reads the surrounding environment and it changes the color temperature of the display to fit the one surrounding you. In short, the screen looks much more natural and it's easy on eyes. It also supports DCI-P3 wider color gamut and HDR as well. And it goes up to 600 nits, so it's also great for video. And another thing that I definitely have to point out is the 120Hz of a display. Apple likes to call that a ProMotion, and it simply is amazing. You don't even have to use the Apple Pencil to draw anything or to write anything. Just simply give it a scroll. Just scroll around and it's so smooth. Especially when you have the older iPad right next to it to compare with. It's just so smooth. I don't know how else I'm gonna put it. It's just magical. It's definitely one of those things that you go one way and you never can come back. And as I'm constantly talking about multimedia, there are also other good things that are good for it, like those quadruple speakers, 1, 2, 3, 4, each of the sides. So whichever you're holding it, landscape or portrait, the speakers are definitely amazing. And while I don't see any reason why you want to take a photo on your tablet, not your phone, the camera is amazing. They borrowed the module from the iPhone 7. That means it's got an f1.7 lens along with the OIS and 4K recording on a tablet. That is definitely insane, and the result is actually terrific. If I was talking about photos from smartphones, then it's meh, especially in the lower lighting condition, but it's a tablet. This is better than any other tablet cameras. And also it's aided with dual microphones over there, so if you're recording anything, then this is it. To make all this possible, Apple put their latest chipset inside. It's called A10X Fusion. It's a hexa-core processor. That means it's got 6 cores inside. Paired up with 4 GB of RAM, that is definitely spacious for everything that you do on top of iOS. The particular unit that we're taking a look has iOS 10. To be precise, it's got a 10.3.3, which isn't iOS 11. I didn't want to go that way because that is not exactly official as of time being right now. Once Apple releases the final version of the iOS 11 in this fall, then it's going to get a whole lot more functions, but we'll get into that later. But one of the best things about this tablet is that Apple didn't sacrifice the battery life. It's not as insane as the iPad 5th generation, but it still managed to give me 5 hours of screen on time. Considering that this is a lot more powerful than the iPad 5th generation, I can definitely live with this much of battery life. One thing that I had harder time coping with was the charging time. It's pretty long, it's a lengthy process, especially if you use the bundle one. That means yes, there is a fast charging available, but it's sold separately. You have to get the additional charger and the USB Type-C to Lightning cable that costs as much as a cheaper Android tablet itself. After all, to explain it in short, the iPad Pro 10.5 is a perfect tablet, a tablet too good to enjoy all the contents you love. It's got awesome display with super precise details and incredible speakers that will enrich your weekends like nothing else. But there is one problem. It starts at $649, and that is a bit too much for some fun for you to have on the weekends. And for that reason, you might point out that it's called a Pro because you can connect the keyboard and the Apple Pencil. Yes, you can connect the Apple Smart Keyboard, but it's another $159. So let's say that you got a keyboard for $159 and start working on what? That is the problem. For me, when I say I am working, I'm writing an article, I'm editing a photo, or I'm editing a video. And all those things, yes, can be done with the iPad Pro. but I still think majority of them are still far easier to use on a computer. Mostly because it doesn't support the mouse, which is crucial for what I do, but also because of how close the iOS is. And of course, the iOS 11 will solve a lot of these problems. Files app is going to let the file sharing between the apps somewhat possible, split multitasking gets more powerful, and the AR support will empower many more apps. But even with that, working on an iPad just simply doesn't let me get on the flow of working. When I'm working, I'm pretty sure it's same with everybody else. I'm writing an article, I have to tap switch to the other app, save the photo, put it right there, and just post that somewhere. With that, I still don't see a place where getting an iPad is going to be more convenient than the conventional computers. Maybe just yet, but I think this is going to be the case for the next few years, that your iPad is going to be pretty old and get deprecated. And that is why I think the iPad Pro 10.5 is a better device for content consuming. And for that purpose, let's be honest, $659 of the starting price is a bit too steep. And of course, let's not forget about the accessories like the Apple Pencil, the Apple Pencil case, or the sleeve, leather sleeve that you can put the Apple Pencil, because Apple didn't want to make it possible to stick the Apple Pencil right next to an iPad, because it would have reminded us of something. So there is a case with the Apple Pencil slot right next to it. So yes, the iPad Pro 10.5 is an amazing consumer, not pro, tablet that you don't want to pay that much that Apple is asking for. So there is one thing, only one thing that you have to keep in mind. Never go to one of the stores and try the 120Hz of a ProMotion display. Never. Once you experience how smooth it is, you'll never be able to see your older iPad as you did before. So that was a quick look at the iPad Pro 10.5. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment. You can always meet us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and we'll see you guys later. Ciao.